Yeah, all right now for a minute, yeah, you know, yeah. Good evening again, folks. We are again on the narrow road. And I said, this road always leads to truth. But again, as Jesus says, you know, the truth sets you free. But initially, the truth challenges you. So I said, you have to respond to the challenge of truth, and then it'll set you free. Or you can walk away from it, as they did in Jesus' time. So we're looking at, I said, our climate, we're looking at our world at the moment. And I said, you can turn on any station and you can say, there's something wrong with the world. I said, there's something wrong with the world. And I said, all the stuff that's going on. And I said to the Lord some time back, what's wrong with the world? And he said, there's nothing wrong with the world. He says, I created the world, and what I create is perfect. What is wrong with the human beings, the people in the world, and what they have done, they have messed up the world that I created. And that's what we're living in now. You see, a world messed up. A beautiful world that's messed up by humans. Trying to have power, trying to have more than anybody else, trying to be in control, trying to be all these things. Trying to be wiser than God. I said, human beings have some very good ideas. I said, there's one thing wrong, that when they get a good idea, they don't turn around and ask the Holy Spirit if it's right, to come into agreement if it's right. And if it's right, it'll be right. You only see the good side, but there's a downside to everything that goes on. So that's that to me. So when we talk now about, you know, what we see at the moment, there's, you know, obviously there's a whole lot of problems. But I'd like to go back to the whole area of you know, what we see and the nice names we put on something. What we call climate change is a nice sounding name. The climate, who created the climate? God did. How did it change? Did God change it? No. Who changed it? What changed it? And what's it doing to us at the moment? And I said, we can see now, I said again, we're back to the whole area, climate change. The temperature has been slowly rising on the world. And this is, the scientists are actually worked on this. And I said, the rise in temperatures is gradual, it's slow. But as it rises, it starts to as the temperature rises, I said, it's affecting the ice on Greenland and causing melting and causing things to rise. And that's well documented and tried out, and it's happening. And I said, from the time that happened, you see, I said, it's happening. So I said, and what happened, what changed, what did we do in that length of time? What happened in that, what changes? The huge rise came in pollution. And pollution came from the combustion engine. And it started back, you know, well, this really started back about 150 years ago, when we come to what we call the Industrial Revolution. And the Industrial Revolution was a great thing. It brought the population from 1 billion to about 7 or 8 billion. More building, more houses, more cars, more this, more jobs, everything was good. I said, it was wonderful. But the downside of it was, and is, burning fossil fuel went up into the atmosphere and poisoned it. We can call it it's poison. So we poison the atmosphere, and when you stand now and look round you, anyone that's not, anybody that's not, so we look around you. If you weren't from this planet at all, and you turned on your television and you saw everybody going round with things here over the place, why do they wear them things? To breathe. They're unable to breathe without them. I thought God gave us, gave us clean air. And the moment when someone is born, when they cry out, they fill their air. And from that, while the time they live, they need fresh air. So I said, so what happened? I said, how did we come around to this? He said, poison. We poisoned the atmosphere. And I said, we continue to do that. And I said, because we want our comfort, we want this, that, and the other thing. So we continue to do it. I said, we even turned around to take land to sow crops to keep the combustion engine going. This is what happened. The combustion engine must go completely out. Any place a combustion out has to go. Anything but fossil fuel. And again we're back to the whole sense. It was not the natural thing for this guy. But man discovered these things coming up from the ground. It was easy light them, and someone come up with the combustion engine. Great idea, let's go, let's make money, let's increase the economy. Fine, we're grand. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And I said, after the war, and I said, but nobody wanted here to do that. So you say, what is the answer? Well, you look at the problem, and the problem is, I said, using this fossil fuel, poison the atmosphere. And I said, you need that if you have the combustion engine. So the answer is to get rid of the combustion engine. Fine. Oh, that's fine. Now, what do you do when you get rid of the combustion engine? The lorries and everything stop. You go over to Lidl's and they have no food. So you die. Is it better to die for one or the other? So you've got to get rid of the combustion engine, but you don't get rid of the cars. I said, you can't go back to when I was young and during the war. You can't go back to say, right, well, we all went in ponies and traps. I said, where would you get ponies and traps now if you wanted to go back anyhow? I said, it's not possible to go back to those places. But I said, what we need to do is to have what we have and change it. And we need a new energy, a new fuel. And all the experts have said, there isn't any replacement for oil. They've tried this, that and the other. It'll part in wind, this, that and the other. There isn't any replacement for it. So I said, it's not a replacement we need. I said, it's a new form of energy. That's what we need. And I said, where do we get this form? Where do we get this energy? And we back then, when God created, the garden, he said to Adam and Eve, everything you need is available to you for living. Everything. Everything. There's not one thing you'll need anywhere along the line. Okay, they didn't have supermarkets, they didn't have that. Everything they needed, the food and everything they needed. They had all kinds of fruit, all kinds of this, that and the other, seed-bearing fruit, everything was there. Enough to everything. And God came in the evening and had fellowship with him. So they had it both ways. They had everything they needed to eat, food, and had fellowship with God. That was how man was to live for the rest of his time. That was God's plan for man. And to expand, he says, go out, increase, multiply, and go out and conquer the earth. And we got the increasing right, but we didn't get the rest of it right. So I said, so we went out and we did that. And you could eat everything and do everything except the one tree for one life. And when he talks about fruit, it's something that comes up on a regular basis. About if you eat the fruit of that tree, talked about go out and bear fruit. Like we think about it, eating that, but it says it's bigger than that, fruit again. And he says, every place you go, preach the gospel, to bear fruit for the kingdom. It's bearing fruit. So that's basically, so we're back to that stage. Right. So the problem is, I said, the problem is for us now, this pollution. And it's got to stop now. And we've got to stop using the fossil fuel. And we've got to use the alternative to that. And I said, it's falling all around us. And I won't go into any details now, but I said, the energy that everybody on the earth at the moment needs is all around them. I said, you don't have to go anywhere, and nobody can control it. It doesn't belong to anyone. It doesn't come out of anyone's property, anybody's home. Like everything else that comes falling from heaven to us. It was there from the beginning, and it'll be there because it's home. So man has to go back and find that and utilise it. And when he created man, he didn't he didn't create things difficult. He made them simple. How to do this and how to cope and how to do that. Our present idea of man, everything has to be digital. It has to be difficult thinking, difficult this, that, the other. Looking at people say, well, can we make energy? Can we create energy from, I think it's some kind of powder, some kind of everything. And they said, oh, it'll have to be difficult. I said, that is all around you, you know. But we don't see God, we do our own thing. So we've got to return to that. So I said, first I said, climate change, the only thing will bring it back is to get rid of the pollution. And I said, right, and we've got to get rid of the cause of it, the source, the root of it. And that prevents this flooding now in places down in China or someplace tonight. I see them rowing up and down the streets in water, up and down. I said, you know, and then there's another place, you know, and the Gulf Stream, and all these things. I said, it's all on me, sir, because we've messed it up. Man has messed it up. And you didn't come see him. He has the plan, the purpose, and he's come back. I'll show you. Now, sir, to get rid of the combustion engine, to get rid of that, to bring in this new energy, a very simple form of energy, that'll cover everything. And they're also saying, like again on I think it's on the French television, showing fellas on little scooters and flying up and they're saying, is our system of travelling going to change now? Is there going to be a change in this mass movement? Is there going to be more individual going this, that and the other? I said, that's the question they're asking. And what I'm talking about, this energy for this, is ideal for that, for single people as well. You see, no pollution, none. And people sidestepped that and it didn't happen, and it's only in the downturn when, you know, when traffic was put off the road, like, you know, in the 3 months or however it is, the pollution or what went up there decreased by 17% in that 3 months. So that leaves all this right there. And I said, it would never happen only for virus, only they had to do it. But I said, people are going to go back to where they were again. That's basically it. So I said, we can't go back, we've got to this is what we've got to do. And to be guided and directed by him. To bring back our climate to what it was. Bring it back to normal. Bring it back to stop this melting, to stop this, that and the other thing. That's the way he created it to be. And I said, anything that interfered with that is messing it up. And I said, so that's the time we live in. And I said, we had to go back like to what the lads that were turning it upside down. The Roman emperor came and he turned it back the other way. Said, what Jesus said didn't work, what the early people, we'll do it the Roman Empire way. So we've got to go back and turn it the right way up again. And it's up to us to do that. And that's basically. And so we've got to push it out and do it and explain it. Governments won't change except they have to change. You know, I said, the governments and all, they're interested in the next election, not whether we survive or not. So we're back to that whole sense. So that's what you got to do. So you're sent to do that and to speak it out. You'll probably be the most unpopular person initially. Like Jesus was so unpopular that they crucified him. John the Baptist, anyone that ever stepped out, but eventually it takes, you know, and I think we've got to the stage now that people are beginning to see. It's easier to sell this now than before the virus. If you said, get the traffic off the road. Oh no, but because of the 17%, the Prime Minister in England is supposed to be offering 6,000 each to people to change their cars from fossil. He sees it. They're offering them money again in China to change to electric cars. I said, so you couldn't get that before. But the penny is beginning to drop. This is happening. So we got to change. And the Bishop of Waterford, Bishop Cullen, said, you know, in that article on the Pope, he said, why continue doing something that didn't work? If you continue to do something that works, it's not going to work. So you got to change, you got to do something else. So that's where the church is at. What we didn't work, isn't working, and we've got to change. And anyhow, it's not the church at all. So it's back to his word, his call, that's basically it. So I said, we live in these times, and we live again, I said, in the whole sense. And you look at what's happening in America, and that unfortunate man that this, you know, the strangler choked him. And I said, he's gone, and people say, one man, you know, caused riots across the world. He's caused more upset or whatever it is. And I said, why? Because it was bubbling there under the surface, and that was going on. And I said, I took something just to trigger it off. And you said, you're back then to breathing, you know, to breathing. And I said, take the breath of life. They said, I think it's 5 minutes is all you can live without breath. So I said, that man, I said, wiped out. For me, like, the thing is, was he prepared to go? Like when he said he couldn't breathe, was he able to call Jesus? Right? Nobody says, where did he go? He just simply pulled him up himself. That's had he given it, I mean, if he'd given his life to Jesus, he'd gone home. And he said, he changed the world, but he said, what's our priority? What is, you know, we find someone like that. So we live in this time, I said, so we got to move along. And I said, when we come back then, I said, the whole area, I said, what we need to do, we need, I said, we need a new energy, a new form of energy, a replacement energy, if you like. And that, I believe, is what we need. And I said, so to use that, and I said, this new energy is going to, what it's going to do, it's going to bring what we call perpetual motion. And perpetual motion is something that mankind has been searching for a long time. It's not possible, it can't be done. I said, if God shows you the way, it can be done. And I said, what this means is, you're using gravity in this sense. Gravity is there. Everything you throw up comes down. We know that, and if so heavy it comes on top of us. I said, that doesn't work. So you're letting it fall down. And the whole idea is, instead of letting it fall down, it falls from north to south. And you get something to cause it from east to west. And that causes circular motion. And if you get circular motion, everything can be done that way. Everything, no more rubbish up into the air. Circular motion. I said, that's what we're looking for. I said, it can be from that size to that size. Okay, so I said, so we're back using that. I said, but because we're focused in on a certain direction, we're focused in on, you know, the combustion. This is what we have to do. We improve it and you improve it. And I said, you know, so we're back to the whole area, going back to the beginning. And I said, to clear air. And I said, when you look at it, I said, what's wrong out there that people have to wear a mask every time over their face and noses? Like I said, from just an ordinary looker, I said, there's something wrong with the air you're breathing in. They said there's a virus in it, and I said, well, where does the virus come from? And for me, wherever it is, I said, it's the amount of pollution that's in the air is a breeding place for the virus, and it lives there. Until you clear that, I said, then it dies. I said, I know scientists, I don't know, but I said, that is basically it. And when you look at people with their faces covered, I said, this is crazy, this is crazy. And I said, if we saw it a few years ago, everyone going around wearing masks in China or something, they're all mad over there. In the offices everywhere now, this thing over their face. I said, we're supposed to have clear air. We're supposed to be breathing clear air. I said, and I see now, on the last night, they're running out of oxygen. Oxygen is running out on them now for treatment in the place. We shouldn't have to be taking oxygen out of the bottles. The Lord supplied it from the beginning. Everything we need is there. Everything we need, Lord. I said, we don't recognise you. You don't know anything about it. I said, we don't preach the gospel. We said, God bless us, to raise people up to really believe, preach the gospel. And it's not about running around hands joined or holiness or anything at all, but it said, it's back to the whole sense of I was just reading back through the internment of the lads, back in 2021. All good men, all in turn pulled in there, honest men for fight, and of course, and this is what they were taught. They had mass every morning, and they said the rosary every night. Now, I'm not taking from it, that's what they were taught. But I said, like, there was that many lads there, believing and doing that, doing the best they knew how. And I said, instead of, so I said, and till we get away from that, back to the whole area of following Christ, making commitment, following Him, finding life, and going out and sharing with people. You receive, you hear, first you have to hear preach, you have to receive it and live it, and then go share it. And I said, till we do that, till we complete that, we're not at anything. And that's what will be asked when you stand before. Did you make disciples? Did you tell anyone about me? Oh no, I didn't, Lord. I went to church every week. That's no. We're back to the call of the Lord, the call of the gospel. And I said, that's it out there. So I said, we've got to come and move now. I said, we don't have time. I said, like, again, he said, like this virus is spreading and they don't know how to handle it, they don't do this, that and the other thing. So I said, and I said, there's, it's on breathing and then it's on something else. Now they're going on washing and blowing stuff round. I said, it's all what we're breathing in there, in Jesus' name. I said, that's basically what I said. And they say, anybody on the road, anybody on this narrow road now, listening to me, if you have any ideas about how to change this, if you have any ideas about perpetual motion, if you have any ideas how to get rid of the pollution, would you do something about it? There's no use sitting and saying, well, I'm mad, or it's a good idea. That doesn't make any difference whether I'm mad or a good idea. It's a God idea. So I said, if you're on the medical road, I said, out there, think about it, chat about it. I said, how do we solve this? I said, and of course, you prayerfully solve it. You ask the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you. Okay. You're not going to be number one up there doing this, that, and the other thing. I said, it's always about the Spirit. And, and recently I was saying to the Lord again, I said, about what I was doing, working on something, and I was giving it up. I said, no, doesn't work, not going to give it up. And he didn't say, he just said, the Holy Spirit said to me, he didn't say you're to do this, that, or the other. He said, will you give it another try? And I said, if you ask me, I will. He didn't tell me I will. And things changed from there. Okay. That's where it comes from. And that fits into what he told me. He said, the Spirit will come upon you from on high, and you receive power from on high when the Spirit comes upon you. And then he says, you're to be a witness for me to the world. Okay, that's the witness to the world, as best I can.